Let's pop into this Goodwill and see if there's anything on the shelves that I can give a makeover to. Well, my first victim, or my first item, seems to be this little coffee grinder. You can see the wear, you can see that it's missing its little tag, which is inside, but I think it is definitely ready for a makeover.
Somebody must have just turned in some of their coffee grinder collection. So this has some wear. It's got the little, it's just a wooden little, so we'll toss that off to the side. Maybe I'll find something else I have in my stash to replace it. The knob is wooden. You can see the paint is wore. So, and I think, trying to see if that, can I take off the little knob? Maybe. Oh, it is screwed on. Okay. I don't know if I should worry about that. I'm going to take these little things off because we are going to go ahead and repaint it. So you can see it has some of the top coat, the stain, paint, whatever it is worn. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a sanding. Try to smooth that out a little bit. As I'm sanding this little lid, I'm like, oh, this should not move. So I'm just going to use a little bit of Type-On glue. And we're just going to get that to stick together. Okay, I'm going to get it wiped down. I did have some coffee grounds in it, so it definitely was used. See, the previous paint was coming off, so I'm going to go in with shellac. Instead of trying to tape off, I'm just going to go ahead and just brush the shellac on. My paint color for this one, I'm going to be using DIY's Cottage Color in Garden Sage. And I'm just, instead of taping off and missing spots, I'm just going to use a fan brush and just try to go really gingerly. Try to get as close as I can. I feel like for me, I feel like I have a little bit more control to do something like this with a fan brush. Because sometimes when you tape off, you end up taping some of the wood and then you miss a spot and you're trying to go back and paint's build up and it's a little bit on the thicker side and you know, all that. And then it's got the long handle that I can go in the inside and get that painted. Make sure that I get that underneath. This is actually one of my best. I sell greens. I sell a lot of greens. Probably because I paint a lot of greens. But this is one of my best selling greens, by the way. I'll have to wait for the bottom until that's done. But I did sand a little knob. So definitely need a second coat, maybe a third. It's okay. This is a little bit on the watery side, but the color is amazing. Unlike DIY's clay-based paint that's thick, this is not the same. But some things you do because of the color. I do think this is so cute green, so we're going to go ahead and sand it because I'm a distressed kind of person. Get those edges. Sand everything else so that it's nice and smooth, even though it levels very nice. Whatever decides to come off is what comes off. You can't worry about that. Oh, it's so cute. And there's these nice, that's what I liked about it. I like the curves of this. Now, because it has a top coat, it's not as fun to sand as a chalk or the clay-based paint. But I like the color, so I'm going to make it work. You can kind of feel that gumminess of the top coat really until it's I mean, it's dry, but it's not cured. Two different things. And then I'm just going to use some antiquing wax, which is a little bit on the darker side. And we're just going to go ahead and wax this whole thing. It'll take a little bit differently darker where I sanded and it doesn't have that top coat anymore from the paint. Then wax on, wax off. I don't know, there's just something about that finished step of waxing, whether it be clear or, I mean, I know when it has a top coat you don't have to do, but I just love the added character that it gives a piece. I don't have a number 1, but I do have a number 3. So I think I'm just going to put that on there. I think the black really goes with this black. And I'm going to do a little bit of glue, just a little bit of tight bond glue on the back. Reassurance here. A couple black screws.
So see what I mean when I said somebody turned in their coffee grinder collection. So this one has been previously painted, so I think it's a good candidate. It is missing a knob, but I think I might have a replacement for that.
And then I have this other one that somebody painted, though I'm going to paint it a little bit differently. And as you see, it needs a knob. There wasn't any knob left behind. I'm going to have to take the sander a little bit to this to get that paint to be smooth. Well, I might as well, since it came off. I'm probably just going to paint this separately before reattaching it. I think that'll be easier just to be able to paint the whole base. So I'm going to use shellac on this since I have the can out and I don't want to spray that metal. I'm just going to go ahead and brush it on. My next little coffee grinder, I'm going to use some of Sweet Pickin's milk paint and I'm going to mix a few of them together. I'm going to start off with Cheshire as my base. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 of those. This is a tablespoon. I'm going to do 1 of In a Pickle. And then 1 of Old Olive. Trying to get an old-timey green going on here. Now I'm going to mix it dry and see what I come up with. You can kind of tell with the color. Oh yeah, I like that. Oh yeah, I like that a lot. So now set those off to the side, get some water. So I have 4 scoops in here. I'm going to start off, I want it kind of a dry mixture because I'm hoping for some chippiness, crackling, crazing. So I'm going to start off with 2 tablespoons to half of the amount, but you can tell once you start to stir it if you need more or if you don't need more. But it's stirring up okay, but I think it thickens. So I think I am going to add half of that tablespoon, or attempt to. There, because it was already getting hard to mix. That means it'll be really hard to put on, but look at that green. Mixing that olive in there was very fun. I love mixing these together and creating my own green colors. You can have them all match, but if you can create and have hues of green that all kind of go together, it's really fun. So I'm going to kind of put it on kind of heavy. Try to get underneath that lip. Now, if you mixed it up heavy and it's hard to put on, just add a little bit more water. Because as it sits, it's going to thicken a little bit more. This color reminds me of that old scale that you'll find, you know, the pantry scale. It was already painted, so why not paint them, right? I don't think I've ever painted a refurbished, restored old coffee grinders, but we have yet to. I'm pretty sure I have not painted one. And here was my opportunity right at Goodwill and right in front of me. I'm like, I could paint you. So sure I can. And to paint things a little bit more, trying to make them look vintage reproductions. Sometimes the ones that are actually painted can be quite pricey. Yep, that's what I personally was looking for. So we're going to go ahead and seal that in. Some weather defense. This is why. So I'm just going to wax the bottom. I'm not going to go like overboard here. Dark wax will make it look old. Where that's the whole point of what we're doing here. We're not trying to make this look like a brand new piece because it's not a brand new piece. So, but I am going to sand. Okay, I'm going to do some antiquing wax. And I think I might have a number to put on it, though I cannot believe my other one cracked. And then I just had to glue it back together, and there definitely looks like an older piece there. If you notice that in the final pictures, I didn't have another one to replace it with, so you just have to go forward. So you can see the marks, so you can see indentations. It's going to be smooth. It's not going to be anything. It's the bottom of the piece. So I'm going to add a little bit of tight bond. And then get a brad nailer and pray for the best. Let it sit up first before trying to nail it in place. Okay, I think it's dry enough for me to shoot some brads into it. Oh, I couldn't replace the other one because the other one was farther out. These ones are metal, not porcelain. So when I screwed into the other one, it didn't want to go, and all of a sudden it just went in the crack. So that's how that works sometimes. And no replacement. So I'm going to do a little glue first. Okay, got a little porcelain knob.
So I don't even know if you know how excited I get when I find a little cubby with drawers or open. I love making these type of items over.
A 2-drawer cubby. So this is, a homemade piece. You can kind of tell. Love it though. Cubbies do really well. Drawers do really well for me. So we are going to get this repainted in more of a primitive antique vibe. To scuff sand some of this paint, as you can see, it is super shiny. And I am going to go, even though I like natural wood, the base is already painted, so we're going to take these beautiful porcelain knobs off. I think they're porcelain. So just the thing I like to do is tape off just to make it easier when I go to paint it. That in case I am messier than I want to be. Now that I have it taped off, we'll go ahead and get that sanding dust off. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shellac these. Fill in that raw wood, fill in a top coat. This will bond to the top coat and help my other paint that I'm going to paint it bond. It acts like a primer, or I am using it as a primer. That's exactly what I'm using it for. But I like the clear of it because in it, I like to distress and I like to make chippy. So the clear as a primer doesn't interfere with my final result. Oh, the fun of Sweet Pickins milk paint. So for the little 2-drawer cubby, I'm going to start off with the base of Cheshire. Which I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of that. Brighten it up. I'm going to use 1 scoop of in a pickle, 1 scoop of olive, and to deepen it to match the inside, I'm going to do 1 scoop of basil. Woo! The greens have it. That's all I know. I needed it to be a little bit darker. Still want to go with a vintage green, but I needed it to be darker. And that basil, it was going to take that to the darkness it probably needed to match somewhat of the inside. And now we're going to go ahead and add water. So I have 5 in here this time. So I think I'm just going to do the 3. That second one was kind of overflowing. See how the basil, just compared to what I did on the little coffee grinder, what that did, how that deepened it. And sitting, it has thickened up a little bit more than I want it to be able to put it on. So I'm just going to eyeball water into it. As I said, as it sits, it thickens. So if that would be way too hard to apply on, but I still want that thicker paint. So there we go. That's a little better. And I love the way that it kind of levels itself out, which I think is the water, but I don't know. I am not a chemist. I just play a mixologist here on the channel. That's what we used to call it when we would mix up colors at the salon. Mixologist. A little of this, a little of that. No, I wasn't going for an exact match, just a hue that would match what the spray paint was from the inside. I guess they just fit right in. And no need to change out the knobs. I think they work out perfectly. I love porcelain with green.
these are cute little baskets. I love little wired baskets, egg baskets. Maybe they were for Easter.
So I assume that these were supposed to be egg baskets, or they are egg baskets, but they're a little bit on the newer side. And the color's a little bit on the bright, for me anyway. So, though I love the green, I would like the handle and the basket to be the same color. I guess the tag is holding that. So, I think the easiest way to give these a makeover is a can of spray paint. What do you think? Now, this is rubberized, but I think the spray paint will stick to it just fine. So, yep, they're just egg. When I first bought them, I thought maybe they were for Easter eggs, but no, they were for eggs. So as you can see more in my spray room how bright that is. So I'm going to tone it down, and I'm going to use this earthly green that I just picked up at Menards. I thought that is a very interesting green. Let's see what it looks like. It's a nice, subtle, soft, almost got a silver sheen to it, actually, when it's wet, but I like the muted of it. Oh, I get so excited when I find a mirror, especially when it has beveled glass. It has all that detail. It has cracks. It has wear on the corners, but that just means it's perfect for me to be able to paint. So I'm going to take a moment, tape off the glass, and we're going to need to shellac this to get paint to stick onto it, especially since this is super, I think it's kind of like a plaster, super shiny. Okay, so some more shellac. That'll really help my next paint bond to this without having to try to sand it. Because of course I like to make it look old and chippy, and so whatever chips, because it's already chipped and the plaster's already cracked. So we're just going to use what we have and just embellish it into a different color. I just recently did a mirror that I painted white. So this time I do well with green. I'm sorry if y'all don't like green, but you know, as a reseller and somebody who flips, you got to do what color sells for you. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with some Cheshire. And I'm actually making up 2 because I'm doing it thick again, and that's a bigger mirror. And when you make it up thick, it doesn't go as far. So then I love that old olive color in there, I tell ya. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have, what is this, a quarter cup? This is a quarter cup of the old olive, give or take a few dustings here or there. And then I am going to add a little bit of the basil, like half of that, because it's definitely, basil can be overpowering because of the darkness, the dark pigment in it. Okay, let's dry stir and see what we come up with. Oh, we'll see how that all works out. Painting. And like on the smooth sides, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of tap it on. It'll self-level, but if I just do that, then it's not going to be quite the texture to match with the other texture. Or you just do what you feel. You do you. Just using the bigger brush just because this is a larger item, and then it has the nice point to help get into those areas. Next time I paint it, I might use a small brush. I don't know. Just was feeling the big brush. The only thing I don't like about big brushes is they hold paint when you go to clean them, and it takes longer to clean them. So I tend to use smaller brushes because, one, I do like them, but the cleaning time is so much easier. If you're spending $50, we're rounding, on a brush, you're going to spend the time to clean it properly. And I definitely, between the years of doing this now, I noticed that spending up on a brush is well worth it. One, just to have the hairs not falling out while you're painting. Nothing like going back through and, like when I was using the chip brush, luckily none of them came off doing the shellac, but oh, that is so maddening to have to go in and get a little hair fuzz out of your item. Look at the beautiful crackle, crazy. Okay, we need to seal this in with some weather defense. So I think I'm going to try some darker wax on this piece. I definitely have a lot of chippiness going on there, whether it chips off when I wax it or not. But this is antiquing wax by Homestead House, so it is darker than the aging wax that I usually use. So I really want it to get into the cracks and crevices, and we'll see if it causes any chippiness to chip off. Well, my goal is when I seal it in with a clear coat that it prevents, I love the bubbling of it, that I'm hoping that it, doesn't go all the way back down to the gold. Some of it's okay, but so sealing it in kind of like adheres it, glues it, meaning it's just not that dry, brittle paint, but now I gotta rub off the excess. So whatever comes off, you just have to take. We're making this look like an old piece that's been in somebody's attic for years and has been hot and cold and yeah, and just aged. So I think, yeah, actually not a ton of it. I thought more was going to chip off. You just never know. So I'm taking a moment to sand off where the paint rolled over, and it gives it that hard, crusty edge that's dripping. We don't want that. So thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope I have inspired you to go out there, find those second hands, find yourself a favorite color, whatever color you want. I'm just showing the way I like to paint items, and I like to paint items in the color green because that's what sells and that's what I like. So just because I paint it doesn't mean that's the color that you have to paint. Go out there and find a little cubby, used coffee grinder that might already be painted, some egg baskets, a basket, painted a color that matches your decor in your own home, and a mirror. If you find, oh my gosh, a detailed mirror with beveled glass, oh, be still my heart, y'all, especially at a Goodwill. So thanks for watching today's video. We will see you next time, and you can see what I'm up to. Bye.